next matchup, we do have PSG versus Arsenal. But PSG in the previous game in the quarterfinals against Aston Villa, we almost saw one of the greatest Champions League comebacks in recent memory from Aston Villa, and a lot of that came down to Marcus Rashford and his performance. And honestly, I will have to say, if Unai Emery didn't take him off, there's potential that Aston Villa go on to win that game. I think that might be something Unai Emery goes on to regret because Rashford was cooking. He was absolutely cooking. Unfortunately, I don't know if that game. I think that was in Villa Park, so it wasn't a night in Paris like you were hoping for. But you know, not for you. But you know, yeah. But I'm sure you have some stuff to talk about since I know you brought this up yourself. But Rashford was. He was looking like a shell of, no longer a shell of himself, and looking back to his former glory a bit there.
No, yeah, I mean, you said it all right there. He is a completely different player to Aston Villa, and you know, I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see him succeed. It's just crazy though, because he's not the only one. It's like Anthony, man. That just like, it's crazy what a change of environment can do to a player and their performance. I mean, Anthony has been performing like a madman. I mean, with the amount of posts I'm seeing about him and his performance, you'd think he's like Ronaldo or something. I'm not putting him on that level. I'm just saying.
Anthony
I'm
or
seeing
Rashford?
Anthony. But Rashford, if Rashford like started the season at Villa, I think it would be the same. It'd be the same thing.
Interesting. Okay.
I think there was a bit of an adjustment period for him. But nonetheless, it's still that case of these former Man U players, just something about that club, the culture, I don't know. It isn't working for them, and they're able to perform, and that was more clear than ever during this game.
For sure. I was very impressed by him. Just like the dribbling, the decisiveness in the final third. And it's a lot of pressure too, because he started over Ollie Watkins, and Ollie Watkins, even just last year, was one of the best strikers in the Prem. So having this role, starting over him in the Champions League quarterfinal game against PSG, who were looking like, if not at least the second best attacking team in Europe over the last like half a season. So for Villa to put on the performance they did, and it started weakly too. Like PSG went 2-0 up after already being up on aggregate, and it was looking like it was cooked. And shout out Emery. I talked about taking off Rashford and that maybe being a mistake, but the adjustments he made to even get them back in this game, they were looking scary and very dominant in going into that second half. So shout out to Villa, because they play PSG better than Liverpool did even, and no one would tell you that Aston Villa is a better team than Liverpool, because clearly over the course of the Prem season, it's not even close. But you know, styles make fights, and they really impressed me. But PSG, I know they were up coming into the game, and we'll transition this a bit into the team that they're going to be facing in Arsenal. I knew they were up coming into this game, but for it to look this scary, they were looking kind of untouchable coming into this tie. And this showed their vulnerabilities. And now they're going up against an Arsenal team that just absolutely destroyed Real Madrid over two legs. It wasn't even close, completely dominant. And there wasn't a point in this matchup where I thought Madrid looked like the better team. Even scoring a goal in that second game, their only goal came from a Saliba mistake, which is extremely rare in itself. And I'm not sure about this semifinal matchup. So, you know, we can talk a bit about that Arsenal Madrid game before we get to our predictions, but what do you think about that second leg?
I mean, yeah, but there was a part of me that was like, all right, this is where Real Madrid's going to kick in. You know, Champions League magic. They're going to cook now. It did not happen at all. At all. In fact, the exact opposite happened. And I can't say I was surprised while watching the game. I mean, Arsenal were dominant, and Real Madrid, it just looked like they lacked any creativity, really. And I feel like this dude, like Vinny, was just like complaining, like, and not doing anything. Like,
Vinny, yeah.
Which I've heard the talk of, oh, this is your Ballon d'Or winner you wanted, and that game made me realize, like, yeah, that is wild. We were having those conversations. That is crazy.
Got to be one of the biggest fall offs, like from season to season. I'm not saying he's fallen off as a player; like he can still come back and do great things. But in terms of his performances last year and the performances this year, him and like maybe only Foden has been worse in terms of like the quality you would have expected.
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
Those are the two. Foden, Brant, I got a bone to pick. Nobody's calling that dude out. No one. I feel like we talk about it, but I don't see any talk about it online, and it bothers me. But
it also bothers me. I agree, because Palmer should have won Player of the Season last year. Foden somehow got it, and now this year people want to talk about, Palmer hasn't scored however many games. He still has way more goal involvements than Foden, bro. This dude's terrible. Like, let's be real. Like, he's not really terrible, but he's a system player. I'm willing to say
he's terrible, and they're both better than Jadon Sancho. So that's all I'll say about that. But I'd just slide that in there. But yeah, dude, I mean, our Arsenal were just dominant. I mean, after that first leg too, I'm sure they went into this with just a crazy confident mindset after the 2 goals Rice scored. I mean, how could you not? So, I mean, to see them win this decisively though was a little surprising, but I think them winning and moving on in the competition, it just kind of seemed set in stone after the first 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, and I think this game, or I guess this tie over these 2 legs, really proved that team chemistry and coaching is way more important than just having a bunch of big names on a sheet of paper. Like, it wasn't even close, and the chemistry for Madrid is just cooked. Like, Arsenal, the fact that it's not just Arsenal, like, this is Arsenal without Gabriel, like playing Kivior at center back, who's strapped up, quote unquote, the best front 3 in Europe. They're not even close to the best front 3 in Europe, but he strapped them up. And Kivior is someone they're probably trying to kick out the door this summer. And you got an 18-year-old at left back, you got Marino up top, and you can't tell me that there's any way that sort of composition should have beaten a team with Mbappe, Vinny, Rodrigo, Valverde, Jude, etc., just ridiculous levels of players. But clearly, Ancelotti is cooked. It's like this guy. And I'm pretty sure it was reported that he's leaving after the Copa del Rey final, which is kind of weird in itself, because that's like kind of random timing. The season's not over then. But I'm pretty sure he's going to go coach Brazil or something. But it looks like Xabi Alonso's coming in, and I think they've recognized there's a little bit of a project that needs to go on this summer, because they have never replaced Toni Kroos, and the team does not look balanced at all. So we're going to see where they end up going next year.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, man. I remember all the talk. I mean, even I was saying, like, who's going to beat them with the names they have this season? And as you pointed out, it is a lot more than just a name. So
for sure,
it'll be interesting to see, especially with Barcelona too, and just talking within La Liga and how they're performing. I mean, they really got to turn it up a notch to even begin to compete, I feel like, on the same level.
Yeah, and it's embarrassing because really Mbappe joined and he needed Madrid more than Madrid needed him, because they were coming off of being the Champions League winners. And now it's looking like they're not going to, well, obviously they're not going to win the Champions League. Barca, from what I saw, maybe I got to confirm this myself, but I saw they apparently went 7 points clear today, which is, it's not looking good because not that many games left in the season. And this might be a really embarrassing first season for him after all the hype coming into the season. And even just the Arsenal game itself, all week, Madrid's gassing up this remontada that's coming. Remontada. Yeah. We're closing the roof and all this nonsense. Vinny posting stories. What was all that, bro?
I saw was it Vinny or no? I think Rodrigo's dad praying at the stadium in the morning before,
like 3 a.m.
He's posting about it. Oh my god, dude!
What was all this? Y'all showed up and you got cooked at home by Arsenal, and for a team that has Jude, Valverde, Tchouaméni, all these players, Declan Rice looked like he was lapping all these players by himself. Like that, Declan Rice, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this last week after the first leg off the free kicks, and the free kicks were amazing. But even without the free kicks, his second leg performance, Declan Rice is really putting in the shift to try to justify this 100 million price tag. And I have to give him his respect because he was cooking.
Yeah, I think this has been the season where he's proven that worth, man. The opposite of Anthony.
yeah, that's not even in the
Same
question.
price, pretty much the same price,
Which
and
is crazy.
crazy difference.
Criminal even. But speaking of Declan Rice and teams cooking, we're looking at two of the most, I guess, informed teams in the competition coming into this game. PSG, Arsenal, semi-final. One of the most attacking teams in the competition versus one of the best defensive teams in the competition. And first of all, before you even get into that, I just want to say we all predicted Madrid to go through. We all got that wrong, especially you, Eric, who tried to do that countdown thing, saying 1, 2, 3, Madrid's gonna win. Yeah, GG's, they got cooked. But we all did predict PSG to go through, so we all got that right. But if you had to predict PSG versus Arsenal, what are we looking at?
With these performances, you go.
You got it.
No, I want to hear it. Let's see.
Nah, I was just gonna say. Well, I was gonna respond to the whole countdown situation. Listen, man, I think we were all thrown off by this. I don't think any of us expected it. I think that's already been communicated though, so there's no need for that. But as far as my predictions for Arsenal and PSG, I have to go with Arsenal. You know, I can't. After seeing the way they showed out, beat Madrid 5-1. You know, I think we're getting on Madrid, rightfully so, for underperforming and not making it through. But you really got to look at Arsenal now and be like, man, like they are all in. So I see them making it to the final. I just don't see how you have a win this big off momentum this strong and not advance. So I'm gonna go with Arsenal in that matchup.
That's fair. What about you, Alexi? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I got to agree. PSG almost lost it to Villa. Not to say anything bad about Villa, but it shows a weakness in their team that Arsenal, as of yet, has not shown in the Champions League. So I got to give it to them, and I think they're just riding a high. I mean, they beat Real Madrid. They scored 2 beautiful free kicks, and yeah, it was just majestic.
For sure. Yeah. I want to disagree. Like, I really want to go with PSG because I like the project they have this year. And it's something that we've been hoping they would go for years and years instead of going for these random high profile teams. But just the fact that they showed me those vulnerabilities at the wrong time and Arsenal are peaking at the right time, I feel like that momentum is just too much to overcome, especially because defense does win championships, and Arsenal are not a good matchup for PSG in terms of being such a good defensive team. And you can say the same thing on the other side with Inter and Barcelona, which we'll get to. But I feel like both of these matchups are very attacking teams versus very defensive teams. And I feel like the defensive team, when you have someone like Asaka who's back and firing and looking clinical with that finish he had in the second game was beautiful. It's just tough to overcome all of that. Because if they can't keep a clean sheet against Arsenal can probably keep, maybe not over 2 legs, but they could probably hold them or suppress them to an extent. And I think that will be enough to put them through to the final. As much as I don't want to see that, I'd love to see PSG go through. But yeah, I guess we're all three going Arsenal on this one.